back to our second session, and I hope we are still learning together. I won't take much time, so I want our coach to carry on and atupeleke kwa the next step. Kezia, please.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Welcome back, our viewers, to our second session of Soul Ties. We tackled the first session, and we want to continue from where we left. We did an introduction of the second part, which is the permanent or spiritual soul ties. We tackled about the temporary and the emotional soul ties and how they come along, and we saw that emotional soul ties happen between people who are not even intimate. It comes about by giving words, sweet words to a person, telling a person sweet words of affection. It also comes along by kissing and cuddling. And now today we are going to talk about the other session of soul ties, the spiritual soul ties, which is the most dangerous one, which is the most bad one, and the one that is affecting many people right now. So welcome back as we get to the second soul tie. Now, I want us to begin by reading a Bible verse for those who are believers, and for those who are not, just bear with us. We're going to read a few words of wisdom, words that were written by a very wise king who was called King Solomon in the book of Proverbs. A few verses that he was advising young men, or he was advising people on how to live to avoid this spiritual or permanent soul ties. Okay. So we are going to look at the book of Proverbs chapter 5 from verse 15 to 19, and Esther is going to help me read through the amplified version. Karibu sana, Esther.
Asante. Proverbs 5 verse 15. Okay, up to which verse?
Up to verse 19.
Okay, thank you. Drink water from your own cistern, running water from your own well. Should your offspring overflow in the streets, your streams of water in the public square? Let them be yours alone. Let them be yours alone, never to be shared with strangers. May your fountain be blessed, and may you rejoice in the wife of your youth. A loving doe, a graceful deer, may her breast satisfy you always. May you ever be captive by her love.
Thank you so much. Now, when we talk about the spiritual soul tie or the permanent soul tie, this is a soul tie that happens when people are when people get sexual intercourse. And now we are living in very bad days where you can find even ladies together and their sexual partners. Two men together and their sexual partners. Unlike those days when if you had somebody who you're sexually attracted to, they were a person who was of the opposite sex or opposite gender. But right now, things are getting worse and worse and worse. Remember, I told you about the information era, because we are living in an era where there's a lot of information
on the social media.
Information that is not even filtered. In our days, you couldn't talk of nudity or of sex. It sounded like a taboo. But right now, everywhere you go, there's a lot of nudity. Even advertising, even products. Look at the way people advertise these products. It's like they're exposing their body. It's like they're selling out their bodies. Look at even the cartoons our young babies are watching. Full of sexual content. A lot of nudity. A lot of sexual content as young as less than 1 year. The enemy is out there to make sure that people are exposed to all this. Initially, you couldn't see people watch pornography. Right now, there are so many sites showing pornography. Making people even think of exercising what they are seeing in those sites. Things that we dreaded to talk about, things that we dreaded even to think about. It's the order of the day now. People are masturbating left, right, and center. And this is where they're getting now the soul tie we are going to talk about. The Bible has told us, let me have this version kindly. If we look at verse 15, the Bible is telling us, drink waters out of your own cistern, of a pure marriage relationship, and fresh running waters out of your well. The king here is advising people that get into a pure marriage. And what? When he's talking of a cistern and when he's talking of a well, these things are symbolic.
Okay.
These things are
Symbolic.
symbolic. Because when he tells you that you drink waters out of your cistern, there's no way you can drink water in marriage. Literally, like you take a glass of water to drink. So there must be something else he was talking about. When you talk sweet words to a woman, in a woman there's this thing we call the cistern. A cistern is used to store, right? It's like a container that is used to store water. And the word is telling us, drink waters from your own cistern. The words that you store to that girl that you love, the words that you tell this woman that you love. The moment a woman is happy, the moment the emotions are excited, what happens to their body biologically? For those who did biology, I want to believe we're not shying away from saying things as they are. A woman gets excited,
Yes.
and she starts getting wet. She starts being lubricated. This is a cistern that this man is talking about. Drink water from your own cistern. Don't let this woman get excited and she's not your wife. Many people are getting so many girls excited, and in the end of the day, they are sharing their fountain, as we shall see in the next verse, to so many people. By the time a man is getting married, or by the time a girl is getting married, she has encountered more than 10 men. She has slept with so many, she has had so many people she has slept with. And remember, every time you sleep with someone, you share a part of you with them. And you develop now this tie we are calling the permanent or the spiritual tie. Remember, I told you this is the most tie that is holding people. It is taking effect in so many people. So as a man, what you tell your woman, what you tell your girl, excites her system. Store in that system those words that excite her emotion, those words that make her become wet, those words that make her excited. Let only be for that wife that you married at your young age. And the word is telling us, let those running waters be of your own well. Don't go to get these waters from left, right, and center. The first person you marry, even the Bible says, and the person you first slept with, regardless whether you are trying, whether you are joking, whether you are playing this game inaitwa chamama, it was registered. It is your wife. It is your husband. The spiritual realm registers that. Even God registers that. That is your wife. That is your husband. You will not go about saying, nilikuwa najaribu, I was trying to see if it can work. It is registered in the spiritual realm that that is your wife, that is your husband. So if you sleep with more than one person, all of them are registered as your wives and as your husbands. And you get a tie from these people. Verse 16 asks, should your offspring be dispersed abroad as waters brooks in the street? Is it true? Another version says, otherwise you may one day come home and find your barrel empty and your well polluted. That's another version. It's talking to our men. It's talking to our boys. This barrel that you're being asked, every time you sleep with someone, there's something you ejaculate, you pour something. And do you know, they say that a man has 52 liters of sperm. So if you start ejaculating at a very young age, it will not be a wonder by the time you're getting married, you have nothing left. You'll just be, utakuwa tu unapeana hewa. That is why the word is saying that you may come home and find that your barrel is empty because umekuwa ukisambaza left, right, and center. So we go to verse 17 and it says, confine yourself to your own wife. Let your children be for you alone and not the children of strangers with you. How many young men or how many men now have children away from their marriages? You first met with your first girlfriend, you left her pregnant. You met another one, you left her pregnant. Another one, you left her pregnant. Like you have children in every county of this country. Everywhere you go to work, they are offsprings. Every place you go, you have planted seed. And the word is saying, confine your children to you alone. Usikuwa unasambaza. And somebody will tell you, nitatumia condom nikienda. But does condom refrain you from ejaculating? So if you say you're going to use condoms, what will verse 16 say? Inakufunga, right? So the fountain that is being talked about here, which is in verse 18, is saying, let your fountain of human life be blessed with the rewards of fidelity, and rejoice in the wife of your youth. A man has this fountain, the one we've said, that in their entire life, they ejaculate 52 liters of sperm. Their whole entire life. So this fountain is what they are being told in verse 18. Let this fountain of your life be blessed. Confine it to your only wife, the woman of your... And why we are talking about this is to open our eyes and see. Every time we go sleeping around, what happens? You tie yourself to everybody you sleep around with. Right? So, verse 19 says, a loving door, let me use amplified version. Let her be a loving hind and a brazier door. Tender, gentle, attractive. Let her bosom satisfy you at all times and always be transported with delight in her love. The person you loved from the beginning, let that be the person who gives you delight. Let her bosom be comforting you. Don't go to look for comfort from other people. Because as you go to look for comfort from other people, you are making more and more soul ties. You're tying yourself to other people. So the first person you decide, this will be my wife, this will be my husband, confine yourself to that person. When you need comfort, when you need warmth, let it be from that person alone. If you sleep with anyone, you deposit a part of yourself from them. There's always an exchange of fluids. What is in you as a woman is deposited to the man, and what is in the man is deposited to you as a woman. So that exchange is what makes this tie so strong, and that is why it makes this tie a permanent one. The person you have a soul tie with has authority over your life. They can say words over your life and they take root because you have become one. So if you have had like 10 partners, can you imagine all of them, a part of them is living with you and a part of you has gone with them. You see, that is how serious this soul tie is. And unbroken ties are very dangerous. They have to be broken. You can't just sit down and expect these ties to break themselves. You have to break these ties. Somebody who left you and they told you, hautawaipata mtu mwingine, and their words take root. The reason why they take root is because this something is spiritual. You are a part of them. They have got authority over your life. Right? And this is what is affecting so many people. Look at so many relationships right now. You're getting into relationships you can't hold. 3 months, 6 months down the line, how is it? Because you left the other relationship, you left somebody crying, you left somebody hurt, and they said words against you, and they have been affecting you. I'll not discuss so much about this, but I want us to see signs of a soul tie. How can you identify? Or how can you know if you have a soul tie?
Okay.
Right? Because we could be having soul ties and we are not aware if we have them. Now, the number one sign to show that you have a soul tie is something we call unhealthy attachments with someone. You're so much attached to someone in an unhealthy way that if they leave you or if they break up with you, you are like, I will go and kill myself. I can't live without this person. Every time you're thinking about them, right? That attachment with this person, which is unhealthy, an unhealthy attachment.
It's like being obsessed with somebody.
Obsession is another way. Sorry about that. Okay, thank you. So, you being attached to this person in an unhealthy way. Always thinking about them. Always wishing you are with them. Always feeling like since they have left me, I will not eat, I'll commit suicide, I'll not take care of myself, just because they have left you. My friend, you have a soul tie with that person you are attached to. Now, being obsessed with someone, you follow them even in social media. They have broken up with you, they have left you, but you're so much obsessed with them. You're the first to check on their status. What are they saying, even if you don't comment? In their Facebook, you're always following them. You're always asking about how they're doing from their friends. But you're not talking with them. You're so much obsessed with them. I'm here to remind you all, to tell you all, to make you know that you have a soul tie with this person. You take traits or habits of that person who you have a soul tie with. For example, you may hate what they hate. For example, if you're cross with someone, right, you're my friend, there are things that I would hate. As we walk together, you find yourself hating things, the things that I hate. Because we have a connection with you. Look at a married couple. When they get married, you find the wife hating things that the husband hates, or the husband hating things that the wife hates, and it comes involuntarily. You don't push it. So that is an indication that you have a soul tie with that person. You remain in an abusive relationship even if you are hurting. There are so many people who are in marriages that are in abuse. They are being abused verbally, they are being abused emotionally, they are being abused physically, they are being abused in all ways, but they can't leave this relationship. They can't leave this marriage. It's because they are tied to that person. Even if they try, they can't. They tell you, I try, but I can't. I can't leave them. Nitamwacha na nani? How will I go? Or you talk with them and they have come to a decision that from today, I'm leaving this relationship. I'm going. But after 2-3 days, they're back. And they tell you, we settled issues, everything is okay. It's because they have a soul tie. And they're not able to break from this relationship. You have dreams and thoughts and fantasies about them. When you're just sitting like this, you are fantasizing about that person. You're thinking about this person. You're even dreaming about this person. This is to show you you're having a soul tie. In most people, they have allowed people to live in their hearts rent free. Every time ukikaa tu hivi ni mtu unafikiria, ukikaa tu hivi unafikiria John, ukikaa tu hivi ni John. Nothing else is happening in your life. Anakaa tu kwa moyo wako na hata halipi rent. Get them out of your heart. Now you possess objects that they gave you. When you're in a relationship, in most cases, people give gifts. So you are like, these gifts are so dear to you. You have broken up with this person, but you're keeping these gifts. You'll find even someone keeping even a pen or a Bible that has no ink. It can't even write. But they tell you, I can't dispose this pen because I was given by so and so. I don't want to forget this gift. It's an indication or it's a sign that shows that you have a soul tie. You have a soul tie with this person. You have short-lived relationships. After the breakup, every time you try to move on, every time you try to relate with somebody else, they are short-lived. Because every time you try to move on, that soul tie pulls you back. Remember we said, somebody who has a soul tie with you, have authority over your life. So every time you try to move on, this soul tie you're forming with another person will always fight with the soul tie you had earlier. It affects your relationship. Remember, we said soul tie is spiritual. So once they see you're trying to move on, they'll pull you back. Okay? Now, another indication is you can't fall in love with somebody else if you never broke the soul tie you had with the initial person. You try to love somebody else, but you're like, hapana, mimi sitaki huyu. I can't see kama so and so, see kama XYZ, because you never broke the soul tie you had with the other person. Okay? Now, these are something we see in social media, and this is how soul ties work. If I would change my status in WhatsApp, what happens? It sends messages to everyone.
It will notify your users.
It will notify everyone that I've changed my
A good example is
Yes.
Facebook.
Yes, even Facebook. They'll tell you so and so have changed their picture, they have updated their profile picture, they have changed this and this. That is how soul ties work. You try to get to another soul tie, it will update the others. They have so and so is trying to create another soul tie with
Another
so and so.
person.
It works the same way.
Oh.
That is why we say this is so spiritual than we thought. It is so serious than many people think. You being consumed in the thoughts of these people always.
Sorry.
They are always in your thoughts. I want us to look at a verse in the book of Malachi. Okay, in the book of Malachi, as we are continuing to understand this permanent soul tie and how it works. Malachi 2. Malachi is the last
2 verse
14 to 16. Malachi 2. Are you there?
I'm there.
14 to 16. You can take us through kindly.
You ask why. It is the You ask why. It is because the Lord is acting as the witness between you and the wife of your youth, because you have broken faith with her, though she is your partner, the wife of your marriage covenant. Has not the Lord made them one, in one flesh and spirit? They are his. And why one? Because he was seeking godly offspring. So guard yourself in your spirit, and do not break faith with the wife of your youth.
Thank you so much. Let's get up to 15. It's okay. Now, the reason why I've brought up this verse is for us to understand the importance of being faithful to the person you begin your life with. The importance of not having so many soul ties. Because the first person you developed this soul tie with, God was there as a witness. And remember, when I said that the person who has a soul tie with you has authority over you, God listens to them. You can even make a prayer and God stops it by the virtue of the other person telling God not to fulfill that prayer, because he's a part of you. He was a witness. He was a witness that you're the wife or you're the man of this person. You are the partner of this person. And the verse continues by saying, was it not because God was looking for a godly offspring? So if you sire children left, right, and center, you even confusing God. Which is the right offspring? Which is the godly offspring that you're supposed to bring about? It's an offspring that is being brought forth in the confines of a family setup. But if you plant your seeds everywhere, those offsprings, how will they be brought up? What example, what role model will they have? They'll not be godly. So if the child you left in Machakos cries to God, God will have a reason not to answer your prayer. Okay? So let soul ties be between you and your partner of your youth.
Only.
Let the system of your wife satisfy you only. Let her wells be for you only. Let your fountains be for your wife only. Don't exchange it with strangers. But it's not all broken. It's not, hope is not lost. If you have found yourself in these soul ties, you found yourself in multiple relationships, all is not lost. We can break these soul ties. And somebody would ask you, how would we break from soul ties? Right? So I would want us to look at how we can break these soul ties, because I am sure majority of the people are victims of these soul ties. Even if they don't want to talk about it, they are victims. So many people are victims, serving in church, but they are being held by these soul ties. Trying to ask God, why am I getting things wrong? Why are things not working the right way? The enemy has got a legal ground to hold you. Remember we said the spiritual world is a legalistic world. If the enemy has a legal ground to attack you, he'll always attack you because he has that legal ground. Now, the way we can break from soul ties is first write the names of all the people you've had soul ties with. Right? If I had a soul tie with John, I had a soul tie with Peter. I had a soul tie with Dan. I had a soul tie with, write all those names. I had a soul tie with Esther. I had a soul tie with so-and-so. Write all those names. And then renounce. Or denounce. Say, I break the soul tie I had with Peter. I break a soul tie I had with John. I break the soul tie I had with Esther. I break the soul tie I had with Mary. And say, from today, I have no soul tie with you. And you can't do it in a generalized way. That I break all soul ties that I had.
How do you go about it?
You have to write name by name. Make a prayer denouncing name by name.
Let me ask. What if you don't remember some of them? You see, for example, there are these cases that maybe girls go out, they drink, and then they wanajipata kwa that situation. How do they break up those ties?
No.
Maybe alilewa, hakukumbuka, hakujua tulilala na nani, anajipata asubuhi like, okay.
But they can remember the incident.
Yes.
God is a merciful God. If you are honest and you're broken, the Bible says God will not reject a broken and a contrite spirit. And when he tries to verify you and he sees for sure you cannot remember and you're willing, you're broken, you're willing to change, he's going to forgive you. You'll tell God, a certain day it happened ABCD, I can't remember who I was with, but I renounce the soul tie that I formed with that person in that particular day. But it's funny enough, there are people who can remember all the incidences. They were sober, but they can't remember who they slept with. Things that we call one-night stands. They happen.
Yeah.
Yes. We said we are talking of real issues. You have a one-night stand because you are broken. You met somebody, you cried to them, and you eventually found yourself sleeping with this person because you got solace in their arms. You can't even remember their second name. Maybe
or their names.
Yeah, or even their names totally. Because you are just looking for somewhere to get comfort. You're just looking for somebody to give you a solace of that moment. So call these people by name. Denounce and say it openly that I no longer have soul ties with you. Remove all the objects and gifts that were given to you when you were in the relationship. And now, here comes a question of assuming they gave you a car, assuming they built you a house, assuming they gave you something that you can't destroy, because we can't tell people that go destroying everything that you are given. Things that you can destroy, destroy them. But things that you cannot destroy, sanctify them. Make a prayer over them. Let God sanctify these things. Delete all the pictures you have for them. If possible, even delete their contacts. There are people who you have kept their contacts, you don't communicate with them, you don't talk with them, but you always think of them. Delete them. That's another way of breaking from these soul ties. Then pray to God to restore your soul. Remember, we said every time you sleep with a person, a part of you goes with them. So imagine this person who has slept with 20 people. 20 pieces of this person is away. Right? So your soul is fragmented. So pray to God and tell him to restore your soul.
Also, apart from writing the names, you have to make that prayer of your soul to be restored.
Yes. Let God to restore your soul. Psalms 23 says, the Lord is my shepherd. So, when you make this prayer, God will restore your soul. That is another way of breaking soul ties. And remember, soul ties don't vanish. You must break
them.
As a parting shot, I want to tell you how serious soul ties are. You can sleep very happy and you wake up sad. And you're waking up sad because somebody you had a soul tie with is sad somewhere.
Oh no.
Yes. Unaweza kuwa hata umelala umekasirika, alafu unaamuka umechangamka. Na kumbe jamaa mwenye anafanya uchangamke anakula mogoka huko. He is on his highs. That is how serious Salt
Let me
Ties
ask you
are.
something. Let me ask you something.